Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., all rights reserved.
That's Procol Harum. Lighter shade of pale, bringing us back 17 till the hour. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Jim Blasingame, and I am the Small Business Advocate. And that's my website, too, smallbusinessadvocate.com. Please check it out when you get a chance. Don't want to miss a second of our time with our good friend Rich Galen, publisher of Mullings.com, also the writer there. You've seen him on television quite often on different networks. And, of course, he's often featured on the Small Business Network here where I am, and so we appreciate his political commentary. Rich, thanks again for hanging out with us. Mullings.com is his website. The fiscal cliff. Have you seen the Fox man on the street interviews where they went out and tried to ask people if they knew what the fiscal cliff was, and really it was really embarrassing. Have you seen that one, Rich?
No, but I've seen Jay Leno do the same thing.
Yeah.
Asking who Abraham Lincoln was.
Right. Well, this is like asking people about the fiscal cliff, and they literally would try to come up with something. And it was always about some piece of geography, that where there was danger. They were right on the danger part, but they weren't right on the definition. So, are we going over? Well, first. Give us a quick recap of what the fiscal cliff is, in case there's anybody listening who doesn't know.
Well, the fiscal cliff is the shorthand that has been created because it sounds easy to say. It sounds nice to say. It rhymes more or less. That although it rhymes onomatopoeically.
Right.
It is a series of required tax increases by having the Bush tax cuts automatically expire, having the payroll tax holiday expire, having a bunch of businesses.
Does the unemployment rate? There's unemployment abatement. Does that part of this too?
Yeah, just lets it run out. The unemployment insurance. Yes, the
extension.
Stop. Yeah, and then on the other side of the equation, there's automatic cuts. They call it a sequester. Automatic federal spending cuts. That go into effect, and all of this is caused by the Congress because almost exactly a year ago, about 13 months ago, the Congress couldn't figure out what to do about the looming deficit. They had a debt ceiling fight, and they couldn't come to grips with that. They formed what they called a super committee of Republicans and Democrats, Senate members and House members, to come up with a plan. And to try to get both chambers to agree to something, they said, if these guys don't come up with an acceptable plan that you vote on, then we, the Congress, will punish ourselves by implementing this fiscal cliff thing at the end of this year. So the Congress did this to itself, and now they're sitting there whining like they didn't have anything to do with it. They just woke up one morning, and this happened to them.
So now they found themselves in a negotiation with a newly reinvigorated president, someone who thinks he has a mandate, and he is demanding certain things that is basically hemlock to the Republicans, which is to raise rates. He wants more revenue, but he doesn't just want revenue from adjustments in the tax code. He wants to specifically target the rich by raising their rates, and that's, as I say, that's the hemlock to the Republicans, isn't it? Right.
Well, and the Democrats and the president's view on that is that's what he specifically ran.
Yep.
And he got elected. And by the way, the Republicans lost ground in the House. They kept control, but they lost ground in the House. Not very much, but a little bit. And they lost significant ground in the Senate. So the Democrats, I think, rightly say, look, we took this to the American people, and they said, yeah, we're okay with that. Because guess what? Most of the American people are in the 98% of taxpayers, not income taxpayers, not the 2%.
Back to my long-term opinion that in the Olympic blood sport of politics, Democrats are better than Republicans. In what scenario, Rich, do the Republicans not lose?
There is no scenario in which Republicans don't lose in this one. I mean, I think.
I mean, that ship has sailed, hasn't it?
The president holds all the cards, and John Boehner. I mean, yesterday there was this big kerfuffle here in Washington that some of the conservatives in the House, the young conservatives, wanted to dump Boehner as Speaker, which they won't do that. But they,
right.
Because there were 4 or 5 of them that consistently voted against him,
right,
against the Speaker, and he removed them from the good committees and put them on, like, the street subcommittee of the District of Columbia committee. Rich, no, Boehner hasn't. He doesn't have. He's got no arrows in his quiver. He's got nothing to bargain.
Back to the Olympic blood sport analogy. Isn't this also perfectly setting up the GOP to lose the House in 2016? Isn't that what the long ball strategy of the president right now?
Well, I don't know. I don't think the president gives a rip about the House and the Senate. He didn't help them. So
they
kind of
he just goes around them when he.
Yeah, he just ignores them and does things by executive order. I don't think there's any long-term strategy to do that. It may happen in 2016, but we've got to get through the.
So are we going over the cliff? Oh
yeah, I think so. Geithner said yesterday he's absolutely prepared for that.
Yeah. And quickly, Rich, in some ways, in a perverse way, why isn't that possibly a good thing?
Well, it could be a good thing if you just want to kind of, but it's like saying, well, I need to lose 20 pounds by Christmas, so I'm going to cut off
an arm.
Yeah, I mean, it'll work, but it's just a really kind of bad way to do it. And the bigger danger is, here's what I really think will happen.
Hold on to that thought, Rich. I got to take a quick break. You know how this works. I'll let Rich finish that, and then we're going to talk about one more thing after these messages. Stay with us.
Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other copying, redistribution, or publication without prior written consent is prohibited. All rights reserved.